Hi, welcome back to my channel. I have a book review for you for Miss Del Rio by Barbara Mujica. Now, it's a Mexican name, so I could be pronouncing it correctly. So if I am, I apologize. Now, the book is called Miss Del Rio, and the long title is A Novel of Dolores Del Rio, the first major Latina star in Hollywood. Now, I had to Google her. In fact, I went to imdb.com and I found about 5 or 6 different clips of a few of her movies. Movies when she was younger and movies when she was older, and saw reference to many of the movies she made when she was in Mexico. So that kind of gave me a flavor to reading about someone that I was formerly unaware of. So I started this book here, and I'll tell you, it was really good. Now, it starts off in 1910 Mexico, and we have a little girl and her aunt escaping. They have to travel many, many miles. Her aunt is cruel, unkind, but she drags this little girl across mile after mile after mile. Her name is Mara, and she ends up being the narrator of this book by Barbara Mujica. Forgive me again. Okay? She ends up being the narrator of the life of Dolores Del Rio. Now, this is not a true biography. It's historical fiction, but it's historical fiction written based on as many true facts and information that our author could get on this particular actress that started back in the early 1900s. So what the author did is she made Mara end up being Dolores' best friend and hairdresser, and Mara narrated the life of Dolores Del Rio. Now, again, it's written in a fictional setting, so there was no Mara, but it was just literary license the author chose so that we could look into the life of Dolores Del Rio. So the way I looked at it was I felt like I was sitting in like a screening room, and the life of Miss Del Rio was playing on a television, and I was watching all the events of her life from youth when she first met Mara, because Mara was from a poor family. Her aunt worked as a cook or a seamstress, and Mara learned to be a seamstress. But Dolores came from an affluential family, but her life was upset, or their lives were upset by a revolution in Mexico during those years. So when they escaped, by the time they had to flee, Dolores was 16 years old. Well, what did she do? She married an influential, successful American director, and his name was Jamie Del Rio. And through dinner parties and socialization, she was recognized by a writer, I think it was. No, a director. Jamie Del Rio I'm not sure if he was an actual Hollywood actor, but through her marriage to Jamie, she met a director, and this catapulted her career as the first Latino actress, and she became a star. First silent films, then talking films. Always the leading role on her first several movies. Sometimes a shared starring role, sometimes side by side, and she did really good. However, prejudices started to come in. The world started to change. World War II was starting to affect lives of people across the world, and those prejudices affected her and her role and her place in Hollywood. So eventually, as the story progresses, she goes back to Mexico. Now, she's at the age of around 37 years old, but she looks like she could be in her 20s, and she made several successful movies in Mexico. So her career got a second wind, and she did really good for years. And one day she had several divorces and heartbreaks and heartaches and problems over the years, a really serious heartache. But her latest husband, Lou, they were driving one day in Mexico, and she saw a woman and her child begging. and this changed the trajectory of Dolores Del Rio's life. And when you read this book, you can find out how her life changed after seeing that woman and child in Mexico. So that's all I have for you on this book called Miss Del Rio. And I hope that you read it, because you know what? These older actresses that don't have much, like if you Google her, you're going to get like 5, 6, 7 hits. You're not going to get hit after hit after hit, because you're going to get IMDb, you're going to get Wikipedia, and then you're going to get references to her movies. So I would love to see an actual biography of hers, but I do appreciate our author, Barbara Mujica. Again, I might have pronounced her name wrong, but I do appreciate her writing this book, and I'm glad that I had a chance to read it. I got it from Graydon House. It's for a blog tour that was for today. So as soon as I edit this video, you'll see it here on this channel. All right, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.